Hi, my name is Hugo. I'm working with Creators Path. I also go by Rebirth Official. That's RBRTH Official. And you can find me at any social media platform. I've been doing silk screening for about 20 plus years. And today we're going to be printing this medicine wheel, 4-color medicine wheel with 3 screens. So I'm just going to go through all the steps to line the screens up and making sure that you get a nice perfect print. I say 4-color, but one of the colors is going to be the t-shirt color underneath, and I'll show you how that looks. So first step is we're going to want to put our white base down first, and as you can see here, I have a lot of the circle covered in white because we're printing on black shirts. So when you're printing on black shirts, you're going to want a nice white base to set your colors on top. And this one here that's blocked out, that's going to be the black, which is the color of the shirt underneath. So we're going to leave that one like that, but then we're going to have a white, red, and then a yellow as well. So first step is doing your white base. As you can see, we've done some already, but we're going to reset this up on the press. Okay, first step is clamping down your screen and making sure that's centered to your board. So we're gonna do that real quick. I can see some marks there, making sure it's nice and straight. Next thing, we're gonna clamp the screen down. I guess, again, this is one of 3 screens. So there it is, we have our white screen on there. All right, so we have our white base and white screen set up. What we're gonna wanna do is do a test print first, making sure that the registration mark up here is open so that you can print that on your shirt and be able to line up the other screens to the same registration mark. Now we have our screen clamped in. We're gonna do a first print to line up the other screens. So we're gonna wanna grab a test print shirt. We have one right here. For this one, I'm gonna do it on the front. So first thing you want to do with every print, you want to make sure that your platform is nice and tacky so that your shirt is not moving, and so you can apply other colors and your shirt doesn't lift off the platform. So that's what we're going to do first. All right, for these purposes, we're going to use a glue stick. However, you can get spray adhesives or liquid adhesive glue that you can spread on the board. But for today, we're going to use a glue stick. It's going to make it nice and easy. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to place the shirt on here. I'm going to double check the placement that we want on here. So I'm just going to move the shirt up just a little bit. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure the shirt is stuck onto the platform. So you're just going to push down on the shirt and make sure that it's no longer moving. Just like that, it's not slipping around. And now we can go ahead and do our first print. We have our screen set up. We're gonna push ink through this and making sure that our registration mark is open so that we can print that as well. And so it's nice and visible on the shirt. So here we go. You're gonna push down as hard as you can, 50-degree angle. I'm just gonna bring that towards us. And just push that through one more time. All right, come take a look. 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, we've printed our registration mark with our main image. This is gonna help us line up all the other screens and all the other colors. Once you've printed your white base, you're gonna wanna dry that first layer real quick with our flash dryer so that you can add the other colors without having ink stick to your screen. All right, so we're gonna grab our flash dryer and we're just gonna dry it here real quick. This thing is nice and hot, so it should only be about 6 to 10 seconds at first until it's fully warmed up, and then you're probably looking more around like the 5 to 6 seconds. All right, so it's been about 6 seconds there. You can see there's no ink coming off of your print. You want to just test it with your finger and just make sure it's not tacky and no ink coming off. Now that we've dried our first layer, usually at this point for our final prints, I would add a second layer of white to make sure that it's a nice solid white up against the black. However, for lining up purposes and for setup purposes, we're just gonna leave it like this. We can see our registration mark. So let's move on to the next color. Next color we're gonna add is the yellow. Okay, so when we go to clamp this next one on, you're gonna be able to see through the screen and be able to roughly line up your design, your next color onto your first base. However, what the most important part is to look at where the registration marks are. And as you can see the white first layer registration mark underneath. So what we're trying to do is line up the yellow exactly with the white registration underneath, just like that. And you can take a look at your other design to see if that your registration mark is making sense and it's nice and straight. So you can double check your registration marks. However, if you have your registration marks fully, nicely lined up, the rest of your image should be good to go. Now that I have my registration marks lined up, I'm gonna press down on my screen so it doesn't move, and I'm gonna clamp it down and making sure that the screen stays exactly where we had it. At this point, if you press down, you can see that your registration marks are lined up. However, now we want to confirm that your print is exactly where you want it to be. So we're going to go ahead and print this one. And when we go to print the registration marks, we should be able to cover that white first layer completely with our yellow registration marks. And that's how we'll know the yellow is lined up to the white. And then we're going to do that same process with the red. So we're going to print the yellow. We have a nice small squeegee. We're gonna print both our print and the registration mark at the same time. So here we go. As you can see, we managed to cover the white registration mark with the yellow. And you can see that the yellow is exactly lined up with our white registration mark. So our image is going to be exactly where we need it to be. So we have our white base, we have our yellow. The next color we're going to work on is the red. It's going to be the same process. We're going to line up the registration marks first on the screen. We're going to eyeball it, but then we're going to do a real test print, and we're going to be able to see if they're exactly lined up with every other color. So I'm going to grab the red screen. We have one right here. Our registration mark is open so that we can print it. We're gonna rotate to the next arm, bring it down, and we're gonna clamp this in. So right away, we can somewhat eyeball the design and see that it's in position, but we're gonna double check with the registration mark and make sure that it's lined up with the yellow underneath and the white underneath that. All right, so we're gonna push down and we can see the yellow registration mark that we printed prior underneath. And we can see that we don't really need to move it. So now we're just gonna clamp the screen down exactly where it is. When we go to tighten it, we're just gonna push down on the screen a little bit so that it stays exactly where it is. And I'm just gonna use the other hand to tighten the screen. There we are. So the next step is, now that we have it eyeballed and lined up, we're gonna do an actual test print to make sure that the registration marks are lined up and our image is good to go. All right, so I'm gonna grab a red squeegee and I am gonna print again our color design and the registration mark. Okay, so if you had a design that needs to be exact and precise, at this point you can see if the red is lined up to every other color. I can see that the red is just to the right of our other colors, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the red screen first before I do my final prints. Since we printed a test print on our screen, we're gonna wanna clear some of that ink so we can see the other registration marks through this one here when we go to try to line it up again. So we're gonna wipe it just a little bit to get some of that ink off and be able to see through our screen. All right, so we're gonna grab this screen, we're gonna bring it back down. We're gonna loosen up the clamps on the screen so that we can move our screen left to right, just enough to reline it up with the rest of the registration marks. So I'm gonna push down again and eyeball the registration. Also taking notes from our last attempt. Now that we have it eyeballed and lined up, again, I'm gonna push down on our screen and make sure that it doesn't move and clamp it down once again. All right, so we did our first test print on our print here, on our test print shirt. What I'm gonna do now is make sure that our correction that we made is good to go. Since we've already printed a red layer on our test print and we made a correction, I'm just gonna print the registration mark and see if that correction is aligned with the rest of the colors. Now you can see that the red has covered our full registration marks. We made our corrections and all the colors are lined up to our base color white. So now that we have our colors lined up, our final step is to tape these off so they don't show up on your final good prints. We're just gonna take some tape and block those off because we don't need those on our final print. Rotate to our next color. Block this one off as well. And our final color. Now that we've finished lining up the colors, we can take our test print shirt off and start with our real prints. We're gonna put our shirt on our platform and make sure it's nice and straight. Now that we've blocked off our registration marks, we can go ahead and start our first layer. Grab enough ink for a couple shirts so you don't have to keep reloading the ink. All right, we're gonna start our first layer, starting with the white. As you can see, we don't have full coverage, but we have a white base. The next layer is gonna make it nice and solid white. So we gotta dry this one here first. Grab our flash dryer. And now that it's nice and hot, we're just gonna wait 5 seconds and make sure that that first base layer is nice and dry before we add more into it. We check to make sure that it's nice and dry. And then we can go ahead and add our next layer of white. Now we have a solid white base. We're gonna dry that layer as well before we add the colors. Again, we're only gonna wanna wait 4 to 5 seconds for this process. We double check. You can see it's just still a little bit tacky, so we're gonna flash it one more time. We're gonna check again. This time, we have it nice and dry, and we can add our next color. Yellow is next. I'm just printing the area that needs to be printed, and we're not including our registration marks, which is now blocked off. To make sure that there's no smudging, we're gonna dry it one more time with our flash dryer, again, only for 5 seconds. We're gonna double check that our print is nice and dry before we add our next color. Time for our red color. Again, I'm just gonna print our open spot, leaving out our registration mark. We have our red, yellow, white, and black. We're good to go. Remember, the colors are still wet, so we're gonna go to our curing process, help the shirt out just a little bit, and we're gonna pull it off and get that over to the press. All right, so we're gonna cover up our design to make sure that the ink stays exactly where it's at. All right, so now it's counting down, and we're just gonna wait for that to beep. It's a little warm, but your t-shirt is ready. It has some stretch to it. You can wash it, dry it, and it's good to go. If you have any questions or need to get refreshed on any of those steps, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or on any social media platform at Creators Path.